Once a month, he joins us. He's a longtime listener of the show, friend of the program. We've had dinner together. We're basically best friends. We are almost twins, really. If you saw us together, you'd be like, are you guys related?
If you're on the live stream, you can see what he looks like.
Mm-hmm. He's also a public affairs specialist with the Social Security Administration. Robert Fenn, welcome back to the show.
Good morning. Thank you. And let me make sure I start by this. Our day, of course, many of us is going to start with prayer, but it also counts with a little smile from a person. So, Daria, thank you. I can tell when she calls, she's having the greeting with a smile on her face. So thank you for that.
Aww.
She's great. And I mean, I thought you were going to be like, wow, we are both curiously handsome. So in that sense, we look a lot alike.
Past that.
Well, Brian, some things are so strikingly obvious. You just don't need to even say anything. It's just there. They know.
That's my guy. That's my guy, Rob Fenn, public affairs specialist with the Social Security Administration. Get your questions in by call or text, 440-546-2255. You ready to launch in, Rob?
Let's do it, twins.
All right, let's go right to Ronald, not Eastwood, but Ronald in Ohio here. Ronald, what's your question for Rob?
Okay, I was born in 1961. So my full retirement age to get Social Security, the full amount of Social Security, is that what, 67 or what now?
It is 19. Since you were born after 1960, your full retirement age is 67. 67 is the full retirement age in which you can receive 100% of what you're eligible for.
Cool.
That's what you're looking for?
That was basically what I was wanting. And if I get 95%, how was that, 66 or what?
Yeah, so what would happen is you can go to our website, socialsecurity.gov, and you can type in full retirement age, and there's a calculator that breaks down the percentages that you take that benefit. So if you take your Social Security benefit prior to your full retirement age, each month it actually would be reduced. So there's not, in order to find out what that specific month would be, I don't have that all in my head to get that exact 95%. Because if you take it at 66, then you're going to have on average around 8% less than the amount that you would receive at age 67.
Does that help?
Well, I mean, I don't need the exact amount. I just wondered.
So, all right.
Yeah, so make sure you go to our website, socialsecurity.gov, and you should have looked at your Social Security statement. You can start there, so that way you can see the differences between age 62 and age 67 and then age 70 for you. And there's a calculator. There's 3 different calculators, in fact, that you can actually use. And you can plug in, one of them, you can actually plug in your salary that you're making in 2024, and you can see how that would affect you if you were turning 67, let's say next year. So my encouragement would be to go to our website, socialsecurity.gov, G-O-V, use those calculators, and you can see it. And there's also a fact sheet on how your benefit is actually calculated, and then it can show you closer to that 90+% that you're looking for.
All righty, thanks so much. Again, we got Rob Fenn with us from the Social Security Administration, ready to answer your questions. We'll go to another phone call. Again, 440-546-2255. Lori in Bainbridge, what's your question?
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound great.
I can.
Okay. Great, thank you. We had a business, I'm 69, and we had a business that we sold in 2022. And my Medicare, because of line item 11, was quite high because we had an S-Corp. And so my Medicare has gone up dramatically. Can I give a estimated tax return for this year and have that go down so that they look at my regular income and not that business income?
Yeah, so what they will look at, you can submit an SSA 44. What you're referring to is the Medicare adjustment. We call it IRMA. And so IRS will send to Social Security your earnings 2 years prior. So in 2022, you stated that you sold the company. So then in 2024, we will see that documentation. So this year, then we can say that you're no longer, quote unquote, working. by submitting that SSA 44. You can get that on our website, socialsecurity.gov. You can fax that in. You can look on our website, socialsecurity.gov. At the bottom of the website, it says find an office. You can click that link, type in your zip code, and it'll tell you the fax number that you can fax that document in so that way they can review it. They may need some of those, your scheduled SCE, the documents in order to prove that, but they will contact you once you submit that SSA 44.
There it is.
I received this letter in November. Is this considered an appeal? Have I lost my time frame?
No, ma'am, that's not considered an appeal. So you're okay. That's something different. And so I don't want to confuse anyone. So I just want to make sure you stick with the SSA 44. You submit that. Okay. And so you still can do that. You have time to do so. You're okay.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you.
One of the coolest guys, if not the coolest guy, at the Social Security Administration, Robert Fenn, is with us live right now. No offense to your colleagues, but I think they know. He's here to answer your questions.
No.
All right, so let's get to some more questions. We had someone who's been waiting for like 2 hours.
Yes, in 6:08, they texted in their question. My wife just started getting Social Security, and it's a financial burden when the payment is actually a month behind, basically. Is there any way to change the date that she gets paid?
Thank you for that question there since 6:08 a.m. Let me make sure I explain the backdrop so that way I can answer the question. So I'll answer the question, and more than likely the answer is no. Now let me go to the background of that. Social Security payments, for the most part, people know that people will say, well, they came on the first, and generally that's for SSI payments, which hopefully we can touch base on today. But regards to the payments are set up that you have to be eligible for a payment, and then you can receive it. So if a person was age 62 and the birthday was today, February 6th, turned 62, the first month that they're 62 for that whole month actually would be March. March's check means that I'm totally eligible for it because I meet the work requirements and I meet the age requirement. So March's check then says that we can pay it to you, which will be in April. So we are paying a month behind because of eligibility. So then we pay the Social Security payment itself based upon the individual's birth date. So those who are born the 1st through the 10th, they receive their Social Security checks on the 2nd Wednesday, the 11th through the 20th, 3rd Wednesday, 20th on the 4th Wednesday. Because there are so many individuals, they have to allocate them at a different time frames to make sure that, again, it saves money and time and then to be able to separate them. So that's really cool too. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I mean, you were
Did you
kind
drop your phone?
Yeah.
Oh, let me see here. I think it just went off in the Bluetooth. 1 second.
Okay.
Oh, Bluetooth.
Yeah, silly Bluetooth. I'm over here like personally offended. My birth date is on the 27th of the month.
Oh,
so
wow.
You're making me wait so long, Rob.
Well, I mean, how can a twin do that? I don't know. But, hey,
You got to do something.
It is. Can you hear me clearly now?
You sound great. Yeah.
Okay. So, again, we separate it based upon the individual's birth date and what have you. Now, if an individual, I just want to make sure because we have a variety of listeners and sometimes I get emails and people say, well, that doesn't happen in my situation. I'm answering the question based upon how it was described to me. And if individuals are receiving some SSI payments and there's Social Security disability involved, then we may still stick with the 1st of the month for that payment. So if there was some type of extreme reason, then we can look into it. But it really almost takes like an act of Congress for us to be able to change that Social Security payment. And I'm still being kind with this. I just want to make sure I say it so that way a person, if they decide to pursue that change, imagine if you got a job that you liked, and you're working, and they said they're going to pay you every 2 weeks. Great. Now the job says we have changed our payroll is every 30 days. All right. And then would you leave the job? Most people would probably still stay there. My point is you'll make an adjustment, and that's what they're looking at, and they're going to continue to send these payments out at the same time frame. So hopefully that at least answers the question.
Yeah, and if I'm understanding you right, so like in my future, long distant future, when I'm eligible for Social Security, my birthday is February 27th. Take note, large gifts welcome. February 27th. That means the first full month I'll be eligible is March. Therefore, I wouldn't actually receive my payment until the fourth Wednesday of April.
That's right. You got it correct. And my birthday was the 4th. So you owe me a gift too, though, my brother.
Oh, sorry. It's too late. Next year.
It's already passed.
You can be proactive.
Lauren, you had a question.
Yeah, I got a question. You wanted to talk about SSI, and we got a question about SSI. So let me give you this question.
Okay.
If you start drawing SSI at age 62, will the amount increase at retirement age?
See, now notice how I'm going to assume that Lauren read every single word that was on the screen that she saw.
She did. I can see it.
And so, in my opinion, when I hear that, the years of my experience being with Social Security, people mix up the terms SSI, Supplemental Security Income, SSD, Social Security Disability, SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance, SSA, Social Security Administration. They mix all of those things up, because they're all initials.
Yeah,
and
just mix me up.
Well, that's on you,
exactly.
Rob.
Yes. Yes. So let me make sure I explain that. The individual said, if I collect my SSI at 62, notice that they said 62. 62 is the earliest age an individual can file for Social Security retirement benefits. So with that being said, I'm going to answer the question the way it was worded and then explain what I believe they may have meant.
Okay.
If a person took SSI, Supplemental Security Income Benefits, at age 62, we will screen that individual's work history, and we'll say, okay, you are receiving SSI at 62. Do you have any Social Security earnings coming to you? Have you paid into Social Security at least 10 years? If the individual did pay into Social Security, we are first going to pay them their retirement check first, and then look to see if we can pay any additional SSI benefits. So if we were to give them a retirement benefit, the question said, when I reached full retirement age, would my check go up? So the answer would be no, because the individual is receiving retirement payments prior to their full retirement age. So let me go back to the part of where the individual, let's say if they didn't mean to say SSI, then they file at 62, it's a retirement check still, and it would not increase when the individual reaches their full retirement age. You are electing to receive a smaller check, maybe for a longer period of time, or you could have waited to receive a bigger check if you waited. So if I waited to 67, like Brian, then I would receive a higher monthly amount for maybe a shorter period of time. That's just fancy speak. We don't know when we're going to leave God's green earth. So that's all I said.
Fair enough. All right, let's go now to Robbie and Willoughby. Robbie, what's your question for Robert Fenn of the Social Security Administration?
Yes, I'm a retired school teacher, and I get STRS, that's State Teachers Retirement System. However, my husband died in 2017, and I filed for widow's Social Security under my husband, but they denied me that, but they never gave me an answer. And I'm wondering, can you tell me why?
Thank you for calling in, Miss Robbie. Is your name really Robbie, or are you just trying to be my friend? Because my name is Robert.
My father was named Robert, and he was, and I'm named after him, Robbie. But it is Robbie.
Oh,
That's sweet.
Well, we're all together then. Great. Well, thank you there, Miss Robbie. And so let me make sure I explain to you spousal benefits, then I'm going to answer your question. Whenever an individual files for spousal benefits, meaning I want to file on someone else's record as a spouse, we first look at their own work history and see if they have any Social Security earnings on their own. So in this example, let's just say that you only paid into STR, State Teachers Retirement System, no Social Security work on your side. So then we say, can we pay her as a spouse? And then we look to pay that person as a spouse, and we look at their dollar amount that they could receive. When the individual is deceased, then we
looked around 71.5% that we can possibly pay at the age of 60. Then it goes up the longer the person waits. So we would look to pay 71.5%. Then they say, wait a minute, hold on. Does this person have any earnings at all? Any retirement type of earnings at all? The answer is yes. In this case here is STRS. So now when we have some type of earnings, retirement earnings, in this case here, it's called a government pension offset. So, Ms. Robbie, what they did was they looked at your earnings from STRS, that pension. They counted 2/3 of that pension. Then they looked at your dollar amount which you could receive from Social Security as a spouse. That's where I use that 71.5%. So they said, all right, here's how much she could have received as a spouse from Social Security. But however, 2/3 of her pension amount is more than the amount, the 71.5%. So therefore, it offsets it. So therefore, there's no additional payment that would have been processed and sent out to you. So it's based upon that 2/3 amount of your gross amount of your STRS pension. You can go to our website, socialsecurity.gov. You can type in government pension offset. There's a fact sheet that you can review, and you'll see those same verbiage that I mentioned about the 2/3 there. You can read that. Excuse me, so you can have that tangible for you.
All right. It's 8:31. God bless you. Were you sneezing or coughing? I couldn't tell.
I couldn't tell either. I'm getting old.
Rob's the best. So we got more questions. Again, Rob is a public affairs specialist with the Social Security Administration.
Hey, Brian.
What?
Before I answer that question, could I just make sure I address something in regards to the IRMA?
Oh, yeah.
You work for the government. Go ahead. Fine.
Okay. I just want to make sure so the other listeners know what I'm referring to, so that way they say, okay, what are Medicare income-related monthly adjustment amount? What happens is that when an individual works and then retires from Social Security, again, IRS will look at your income 2 years prior, and then they send that information to us. So the prior callers want to make sure they know, okay, what number are they looking at? For in 2024, if it's a single individual, if they have $103,000 to $129,000 when they file their taxes, the MAGI, modified adjusted gross income, that's the number that triggers that to see whether or not the Medicare Part B is going to increase. So Medicare Part B can increase by $69.90 if the individual is in those guidelines, $103,000 to $129,000. And then I told the caller that they can submit a form. I mentioned the SSA 44. They can submit it, and then we can submit what we call a life-changing event. And so there's actually, I believe, 7 of them: marriage, divorce, death of a spouse, work stoppage. That's the one for this individual. Work reduction, loss of income producing property. Again, loss of income producing property means that maybe an individual had a farm and then the farm burned down. That's loss of income, not because they sold it. Loss of a pension and employer's settlement payment. Those are life-changing events. I just want to make sure all the listeners were informed of that, because I have people all the time, they say, I didn't know they were going to charge me more for my Medicare. Yes, they are when it comes from IRS. So just want to make sure I put that out there. Back up to you, Twin.
Thanks, brother. In fact, I'm patting you on the back right now, I think.
This is okay.
Thank you. I feel it.
440-546-2255. Lauren, he's enjoying it. That's what matters.
I'm not.
Lauren is so real.
She's as real as it gets, brother.
Oh, gosh. I just have, like 10 questions in line here. Okay.
Fine.
I applied for my Social Security on January 5th. How long will it take to get approved?
So if the individual applied in January 5th, I'm assuming that they're saying online. It depends on the date. Depends on the date that they applied for it. You still can hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Depends on the date that they are saying that they want those benefits to start. So if they said we want these benefits to start in January, let's say if they were eligible for the month of January, then they'll be paid in February. The program center, they're processing them in the order that they receive, but there's also a hierarchy, maybe not hierarchy, is not the right word. There's a protocol, widows benefits, disability benefits, so they will break those up to get those payments out. So with that being said, if they're due the benefits now and the program center, they receive that, they can receive that payment within those next 30 days, sometimes even 2 weeks. But if it's later,
let's say that they were due in February, paying in March, they're going to process everybody who needs their money now in January and February. So I would tell them, sit still, be patient, because once they get to them, because they'll look at when they're actually entitled to the payment, not just eligible for it, but entitled to the payment. So it all depends on the date that they picked, what month, and if they were eligible for it at that time.
All righty, Lauren, take it away. I've got silly things I could do, but I won't because you'll get mad at me.
Thank you.
I know. Yeah, Lauren's not playing.
I am 64 and receive widow benefits. At what age can I start making more money without being capped? And if I take my 401k in a lump sum, is that counted as an earned income? That's a good question.
That's a great question. Great question there. So I'll answer the last one first. If an individual has that type of income, that does not affect their Social Security payments. Excuse me. So that has no effect at all. Thank you. You're just so studious.
I know.
So, and kind and gentle. I'm just saying that because we're twins, right?
That's right. You're just talking about yourself, brother.
That's right. That's right. So that it's not going to affect them. Then as far as how much can they make and they earn, and so it depends on their full retirement age. So if this individual's full retirement age is 66 and 8 months, once they get to that 8th month, there's no limit in terms of how much they can make. So, for example, if an individual is their full retirement age this year, they're turning it. They're turning their full retirement age. They're turning 66 and 8 months this year. They can make $59,520. $59,520 if they're turning their full retirement age. Once they hit that month, then on, doesn't matter how much to make. So this individual, whoever sent this in, they can go to our website, socialsecurity.gov, type in full retirement age, find out what your full retirement age is, put that on your calendar. That year is when you can make whatever you wish in terms of Social Security, because Social Security will not care how much is your income if you're making W-2 earnings or self-employment. Then those are only two things that could come into place, a W-2 or the self-employment earnings, that could possibly affect you.
All right, 440-546-2255. We got a lineup of questions here, Lauren. What's the next
It's
one?
going crazy. I'll be 70 in September. When my husband passed, I claimed on his at 62 and kept working. When should I switch mine since I'll be 70 this year? I have the Medicare and Part D plus Aetna insurance already.
All right. So it sounds like they have everything lined up. So this individual can contact us. Did she say she's going to be 71?
70 in September.
70 in September.
Mm-hmm. And
so she can contact us to have those monies ready, 3 months before September, which would get us in June. But she doesn't have to, draw the line right in saying, I'm contacting Social Security right in June. If you contact us all the way up to that month of September, we're still going to pay you for any monies that are due to you. So they can contact us early as 3 months before that time frame. And the thing is, in this situation, this is for the other listeners, many times people will become confused and they will think that just because Social Security has their information on their record, since we're sending her a benefit as a widow, they think they don't need to contact us to make the switch on their own. This individual should contact us. They'll call 1-800-772-1213, 1-800-772-1213. They can do that in June to have those monies set up and the application taken for September. Great question.
All righty. Keep them rolling. You can text or call with your questions, 440-546-2255.
I am a county employee and have oppers, but it started late in my career. I have earned all my full credits and credits to collect Social Security when I retire. How does that work, and can I collect both?
There you go. So she receives Ohio Public Employees Retirement System. OPERS is the pension that individual paid into. Now, based upon how the question was said, this individual, which is quite common, paid into Social Security prior to working into OPRS. So, yes, this individual still may be eligible for their Social Security benefits. What they're referring to is if I work and I have the substantial earnings amount, that it will be 30 or more substantial years paying into Social Security, that person is still eligible for their Social Security payments, the full amount. What happens is that many times people may not have the 30 substantial years. So let me make sure I'm clear on this. They can go to our website, socialsecurity.gov, type in the word windfall, That is different than what I just spoke about with the widow. I believe her name is Miss Robbie. She had helped us out with an example. That's called government pension offset. That's two people involved. When you pay into Social Security and you pay into PRS, OPRS, that's one person. That's the windfall elimination provision. They can go to our website, type in windfall. They will be able to see a chart there, and they can count each one of those years that they paid into Social Security to see if they're substantial. If they can count 30 or more substantial years, they receive the full Social Security benefit. If it's less than that, then the Social Security check could be modified. So that's the short answer. Going to our website, there are calculators that they can use as well to view that.
That's a lot of years, though. 30 substantial years is a lot of years.
Yeah, it's a lot of years, but the thing is that the reality, Brian, is that what most people do, they will pay into PRS, STRS, or other pension, and then they work a side job. I'm showing my age by using the word gig. Don't laugh at me, Lauren. But,
she did already too.
Yeah, she did already. I knew it. So individuals will look at the fact that they're paying, working a part-time job, but you have to hit the mark for it to count. If someone were to tell you, I make $3,000 a year, you would look at them like, well, okay, that's really not a lot of money per year. So Social Security has a number that gauges that to see if you're actually making substantial earnings. So thank you. Next one up, young person.
Well, actually, next up is a break,
right.
And she'll get mad at me if I don't do that. And this is
just
all
blame it on me.
about
Go ahead.
making Lauren happy. What's the question? It's a doozy. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to put my reading glasses on. Rob's got to put his listening ears on. There's a lot in here.
All right. Okay.
I'm the guardian and payee of my adult autistic daughter, to whom lives in a shared living facility. She receives SSI as well as she works. Does or should the caretaker have access or control of her SSI as well as her work earnings? And should I have access to her work earnings or at least know what's in her earnings account? Thanks.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. Very great. One, she's the guardian. So by law and by policy, we have to be in conversations with that guardian, meaning that if there are changes with that guardian, we want the guardian to supply that information to us if they can. And we also have to notify the guardian if there are changes such as someone else becoming the representative payee. The caretaker does not necessarily have to be the representative payee. So I understand that the beneficiary is residing in a certain place. That place does not have the immediate right to manage those SSI payments. Now, it is common for some of them to manage those funds. That's true. But the guardian is the first individual we're going to look to, whether it's mom, dad, and or guardian. Because sometimes it's not always the same. Sometimes mom and dad aren't able, and so there's a guardian. Sometimes mom and dad are the guardian. But those, we do have a list of individuals, a priority list that we want to be the representative payee. In terms of wages that are coming in, we do want someone, whether it's a caretaker or the guardian, someone should be submitting those stubs, pay stubs to us. There's also a way you can do it on a SSI mobile app. And you can add those wages. You can go to socialsecurity.gov. You can type in wages. You can get that information there. They can also use Android or Apple to get that SSI mobile app to submit those wages. So again, the main question this person is saying is, who's responsible here? And do they have to defer to someone else? You do not have to defer to that caretaker. Just because they're the caretaker does not mean they have the top of that list. Now, if the caretaker is more capable and then the guardian, it's okay. Both of those individuals can apply, and in Social Security, we're going to have to make a decision on which one would be the best suited to become or manage those wages for that beneficiary. Great question.
So,
like that.
I mean, you all aren't advisory kind of people, but would you advise this mother to speak with the caretaker and try to iron that out?
I would definitely hope that they would iron it out and just to say, okay, well, I can manage these funds. Now, let me bring the real world in. The real world is this. They're talking about a check. And I don't know this individual and the caretaker, what have you. The caretaker may just, they just want to make sure that the bills are paid, the living arrangement, what have you. The mother is saying, this is my child, and so I should be the one responsible for my child. And, So it gets a little sticky there. So we do want them to kind of iron it out if they can. If they cannot, then both of them can come to us and, lack of better words, plead their case as to why they should be the one who can be the representative payee.
And then you all just select somebody if they can't agree.
That's right.
Okay. But not you personally, Robert Fenn, the Social Security Administration.
Not me personally. Yeah, exactly what do it. And I say this, I'm going to throw this out just in case there's other listeners there. If the beneficiary themselves was able to manage his or her own affairs, we still can select them. Many times people come to the Social Security thinking once someone has a representative payee, they always have to have a representative payee. That's not true. An individual can say, I no longer want someone else managing my affairs. I want to manage my money. We ask a series of questions to see if they can do it. So I'm just saying all three of those individuals in this question could possibly look to become the representative payee if they were able, if the beneficiary was able.
All right. Again, WCRF, Rob Fenn is our guest from the Social Security Administration, 440-546-2255. Let's jump to David in Cleveland. David, what's your question for Rob Fenn?
Rob?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes. Hello.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Hey, I just turned 83, and I still got a job. And it's a part-time job. But I retired when I was 67 for regular Social Security, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked all the time from when I retired. I just kept on working, and I'm still working. And I'm getting ready to quit because I'm 83 years old. And could I get bumped up to disability just because I'm too old to work anymore?
You are still working at 83. Do you know that Moody offers some of the best counseling? No, I'm just playing. Just joking. Just joking.
You think
Just joking. So, if you look to apply for Social Security disability, let me make sure I explain that. An individual can only apply for Social Security disability if they're less than their full retirement age. So you, sir, being 83, God bless you. I applaud you for putting your work in more ways than one. So no, you would not be able to file for Social Security disability because we're paying you the highest amount possible from the Social Security Retirement Fund. Social Security disability means I'm less than my full retirement age, and I file for that to get the full benefit. You're already getting the highest amount possible now. So therefore, no, sir, you do not have to apply or cannot apply for Social Security disability. But bless you, 83. God bless him. God bless him.
Now, is there a threshold in which he can just make as much money as possible and keep drawing his full Social Security?
He's already past that. He's doing what he has to do. No problem. I think I need to become his friend.
What's the age, Rob, where you can start doing that?
Yeah, so in this case here, his full retirement age probably was 65, age 65. Now, again, it goes up in increments of 2 months after 1954. You're born in 1955, 66 and 2 months, 1956, 66 and 4 months, all the way to 1960 or later, full retirement age would be 67. So this gentleman's even past that. So he's past that, his full retirement age. He can make whatever he wishes without any Social Security concern.
Wow, yeah. My wife's grandfather in his mid-80s was still working full-time, driving a dump truck. He had a pension, he had Social Security, full-time income. Woo! He's making all the money.
Making all the money. Well, at least that's what it seems like, yeah.
Yeah, but he was working harder than me, I can tell you that. Okay, so let's go to Bruce in Indiana. Bruce, what's your question for Rob Fenn?
Yes, good morning, Rob. How are you? I have a question.
Yes.
The credit, the retirement credits, I'm not old enough to retire, but I have the credits. So what happens to the credits? Do they drop off, or is there a stopping point?
No,
as far as credits to retire?
So you have to have 40 credits, if we're on the same page here. An individual has to have 40 credits in order to be eligible for Social Security retirement benefits. You get 4 credits every year that you're working, paying into Social Security. And so if you pay the exact amount in terms of a credit, because we're in 2024, you make $1,730 gross. That's 1 credit. Times 4 would give you the roughly $6,000+ that you have the 4 credits. So no, they do not fall off, but you have the 40 credits, and that will make you insured for Social Security retirement benefits. Even if you stop working, you already have your 40 credits. Is that where you're going? Does that answer your question?
Well, that's part of the question that you answered. The other part is I have over 47 credits. I had, like, at the age of 40, I had 47 credits. And every pay period, I was getting probably a credit as far as gross. So there's a lot of extensive, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so what's going to happen is the 40 credits makes you eligible. Then Social Security says, great, the individual is allowed to come into the party. Now we're going to have a great party depending on how much you've paid in Social Security, and which means we use your top 35 years of your lifetime, top 35 years. And that's how Social Security is going to figure out how much you're going to be paid. The first one, you have to be eligible, getting into the party. Then you have to we use the top 35 years to figure out your payment. That's how great of a party you could have. Does that help?
Yeah, pretty much. That pretty much solves it, yes. I was just wondering, does the points actually get cut off, or do they actually reduce the amount of taxes you pay in, which is no, right?
You said reduce the amount of taxes you pay in?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured, I was just guessing or assuming that after you got 40 points plus and the points keep accumulating, would they reduce the amount of taxes that I pay in the system if I'm already there?
Social Security tax is 6.2%. They will always collect that, even for the gentleman who's 83 years old. You go back to work at 105 years old, they're still going to collect that 6.2% in terms of the Social Security tax and the 1.45 from Medicare. That will continue. That does not change the tax amount, does not change the credit amount. None of that changes. It stays.
Well, that's not fun.
As the law stands today.
And it's not your fault. You're just a messenger.
I'm just the messenger. Just the messenger.
There you go. All right, Lauren, what do you think? One more, or we got to wrap up?
One more.
One more quick one here.
I'm turning 65 at the end of March. Do I need to register with Social Security Administration and inform them that I do not intend to take distribution until I'm close to 70? Or do I file when I plan to begin receiving distribution?
Yeah, so I just want to make sure they're using the word distribution. Normally that's like a tax word or, another financial type of means. For Social Security, if they just mean when they get the check. So if that's the question, so no, they do not need to notify us when they turn 65. If a person wanted to wait, as I had an example of, wait till they're age 86 to file for the Social Security benefits, they can wait to that point. They're not getting anything extra after age 70. So no, they do not need to contact Social Security. My encouragement is that they do check our website, socialsecurity.gov, at least at their full retirement age of 67 or age 70 to see what that full benefit amount they could receive. So no obligation at all to contact us.
All right. Socialsecurity.gov is the website. Now, let's just say someone feels inspired to contact you. Do you recommend that, or should they just go to find their local rep?
Yes. Well, I cannot give any personal one-on-one counseling. So I encourage individuals to go to our website, socialsecurity.gov. That's a starting point. They can call the 1-800-772-1213 number to get information. If they are part of a church, they are part of a job, whatever they are, they can request a speaker in which I can do a webinar, what have you, and I can give their information and answer questions. You can go to our website, socialsecurity.gov, type in the words, ask for a speaker. You can see that. And then that would end up generating a lead to me, and then I can contact you from there.
So they can actually request you.
They can. Just if they were in Cleveland area, we have a variety of people, in Pennsylvania listening to us, what have you. So it depends on if there's someone else in that area. I cover Northeast Ohio. So if there's someone in Pennsylvania, there's also someone in Cleveland, there's also someone in Toledo. So someone else may have to be that person who will fill in on that request.
Well, buckle up, Rob. You're going to have a line.
That's right. Not a problem. This is what I do. Can't complain, won't complain.
Again, Robert Fenn is a public affairs specialist with the Social Security Administration. As always, thanks for your time, my friend, and we'll talk to you next month, okay?
Thank you all for your kindness. You take care.